And here's the picture. I remember a family member telling Susie that her boys were spitting. Susie retorted, "Boys spit." Yeah, boys spit, right? And then the final page with a picture of them says, Matt always enjoyed visits with his brothers and sisters. And that's it. And then they included a little card. This is from Russell's sister, Maxine. 60th wedding anniversary. Russell, your faithfulness to the Lord was a great example and blessing, as well as a testimony of what it meant to be dedicated to the Lord. I remember the fun times we had together. We gave each other a bad time once in a while, but most of the time it was fun. The Lord became very important to you at a young age. Tithing and giving to the Lord was an example to each of us that in everyday life we must put God first. And we should tell everyone, were you the second born? Is that right? Yes. You were the second born. So when she's talking about your example to the rest of the kids, you were...
She was next.
Gotcha. So tithing and giving to the Lord was an example to each of us that in everyday life we must put God first. When you and Susie got married, I thought, what a wonderful and beautiful wife you were getting. Her dedication to the Lord was an example to us all. Susie, you have been a great and wonderful sister-in-law. None could have been better. Your life has been an example to each one of us, and we could say was truly a person who had a love of people and who has always been there when people needed someone to talk with and to encourage them. The year I went to Glad Tidings Bible Institute in 1945 was a scary time for me. I had never liked school, but I felt like God wanted me there. You were in San Francisco for several months, and I knew I had family who was there to encourage me and be there during times of loneliness. I made it through because I knew you were holding me up in prayer. A few months after I graduated, I went to Blair, Nebraska to stay with you and help in your ministry there. You made me feel like a member of your family. You used me in the church in various ways, such as leading the song service and teaching Sunday school class, which I didn't feel qualified for, but you had faith in the abilities I felt I lacked in my life. When I went to Bethany College to work, I knew you were always close to a phone when I needed encouragement. Your faithfulness to the Lord in your many years of ministry was one that blessed many people. They knew you were preaching the truth of God's Word. Your example was one that showed the love of God. You were pastors who had a love for those in the church and a love for those who were in need, no matter who they were or where they lived. I always knew you were there for me when you moved to California. So many times you would phone me and ask me to come to your home. I always felt like it was a place where I could go and really enjoy because you were a lot of fun to be with. Many times after Mother came to live with me, I would phone you because there were times I didn't know what to do when she wasn't feeling well. The time she was in the hospital, all I had to do was phone you, and I knew you would pray for us. Most of those times you came to be with us. The last 10 days Mother was in the hospital, you were there. The day I had to take her to the hospital, I phoned you in San Francisco celebrating your 50th wedding anniversary and had planned to go on a boat cruise around the bay. You canceled it to come and be with us until she passed away. It was a relief to let someone take over the responsibility. After the funeral, and I had returned home, you phoned me to find out how I was doing, which was very thoughtful. I was okay, but in the afternoon I got a cup with flowers and a teddy bear whose paws were around the handle, and it said, "Big Hug Mug." It meant so much to me, and through the years I have used it most of the time. When Russell phoned me from North Carolina while you were on vacation and told me you were moving there, I felt I was losing my right arm. I had depended on both of you so much, and I knew I was going to be lost for a while. I knew you wanted to be close to your family, so I had to let you go. Of course, I had no choice. God bless both of you as you celebrate your 60th anniversary. Thank you for being such a loving couple who have loved each one of us, and most of all, being an example of Christ at all times. I love you, Maxine. This one is from Ray Boyd. Ray was one of your quartet partners at Glad Tidings, is that correct?
That's right.
And then he also became, was he a pastor? No. Okay. But he was one of the quartet at Glad Tidings. Congratulations to one great couple. Fidelity to the Lord and each other has been exemplary. One could easily believe that they are not living for time alone, but for eternity. And they are. We met at Old Glad Tidings Bible School. We met at Old Glad Tidings Bible Institute in 1942. Those exciting and happy days. Chapel meetings, street meetings, missionary meetings, and prayer meetings. Russ and Susie were exemplary and married. That's good. A great example. Russ taught me that I didn't know how to box. Did you beat him up? What did you do?
We put on the
boxing gloves, and he lost. That's what he means?
We were not in a ring. We were just out there with and he ended up boxing because I had to.
Gotcha. Russ taught me that I didn't know how to box. Hate to admit it, but it's true. And he and Susie were prolific. Little feet were soon pattering down the halls. Someone had the brilliant idea of a male quartet, so Harry Balch, Pete North, Russ, and I gave it a try. We traveled a little, helped Pastor Keys with a 7 a.m. Sunday radio broadcast, sponsored by Glad Tidings Temple. Russ was a great tenor and always full of good cheer. He was nice to be around, as was Susie. I've admired their dedication and walk with the Lord through the years. When time gives away to eternity, I have no doubt Russell and Susie will hear those gracious words from the lips of our loving Lord. Well done, good and faithful servants. Enter into the joy of thy Lord. May it be true for us also. Ray Boyd. Actually, you know what? There's only one more reading in this book, so I'm going to do that one. So we got one. Then we got one out of four. We have 4 of these, so at least we got one of these done. This is from Jim Davis. Perhaps you'd like to describe Jim's relation to y'all. Good and raised, right?
There were several individuals in a town, in the church of about 100 or 115 that became ministers of the gospel. And Jim Davis is one of them, and he married my cousin. And he was both a pastor and an evangelist, and very articulate.
Fiery, as I recall, right?
Held several revival meetings for us.
Several revival meetings, yeah. And it's just a short note, but it's from Jim Davis. Dear Russell and Susie, time flies when you're having fun. It's been almost 50 years since you allowed a big dumb kid to preach for you in Central City, Nebraska. Thanks. 60 years. That may not be a record, but it's sure better than average. Wish we could be there to help celebrate. Hope you have at least another 60 years. God bless you both. Jim Davis. All right, we did take a few moments a little bit ago, Russ and I, and culled a few of the yellow tabs that we had. So we reduced the number of readings per book, since we do have 2.5 more books to get through. If anyone just absolutely must leave, then please raise your hand and ask permission. And if I say, Mother, may I, then you can go.
Is this school now?
Exactly. We'll try not to drag this out too long, but we are so proud of our parents, and I know you are all too, that we really enjoy sharing all these things that people have had to say about them. So we'll jump right into it here. This next one is from Sheldon and Mary Slagle. Mary is another one of Daddy's sisters. Dear Russell and Susie, congratulations. Well, first of all, I, Mary, take credit for your first date. Ha.
That's true.
That's not a lie. We loved you, Susie, from the very beginning, and thought, and still do, you were the prettiest girl ever. We certainly approved of you two getting married. There are so many memories. When you made me an auntie, and of course, when you two worked at Sun Valley, and we got to keep little Russell at the Umphenour Ranch.
I was always called Little Russell until I was probably 14 or 15 years old.
My time with you in Beatrice, Nebraska, with the Denny's, I so enjoyed the boys. Paul was just a baby. Remember all the corn we canned? Dwight even asked if we could have corn for breakfast. Then after Sheldon and I got married and entered the ministry, you both helped us so much, so many times, even moving us to Long Pine, Nebraska. Our boys, Russ, Dwight, Paul, and Doug, had so many fun times together during our stay in Nebraska. Of course, the revival meetings in Central City, Beaver City, Bridgeport, and Idaho Falls. Thanks for all the wonderful support. The wonderful Christmas times with the folks. Thanks for taking care of Mother and Daddy when Mother was in the hospital in Idaho Falls. Also the good times while you were in Susoon, a Thanksgiving dinner, Umphenour children and spouse reunion. The times of your financial help. You have both been good. You have both been good examples for ministry, parenting, and life in general. We've shared in the pain of your losses of Dwight and Harry James, and you have been faithful in prayers and support in our heartache. We love you both so much as well, Paul and Russ and families and Brian. Doug and Debbie have many happy memories of time with your whole family. God bless you and keep you, and give your heart's desires and peace. Sheldon and Mary.
Did she tell what she did for the first date?
No. What did she do for the first date?
I was working.
Yeah.
Here's
Speaking
the
of Daddy's
microphone. There's a microphone right here.
Yeah.
Harris said she used to teach in Beatrice.
You used to teach in Beatrice? Yes. Oh my goodness. What years? Do we dare? We can ask. What years were you in Beatrice?
About the first date and see if it's the same. Mary called one Sunday afternoon. I was working in.
All right. So this is how she set you up with the first date.
Yeah, I was working in Gooding, and Mary called Sunday afternoon and asked if Russell could pick me up for church that night. So she did it.
So
That was it, huh?
that was it.
Did you ask Mary to do that?
No.
Did I ask Mary to do that? No, I didn't. She did it on her own.
Almost sounds like. So the Beatrice connection. What years did you teach there?
I have a body.
Oh, come on.
He asked me if it was pre or post Civil War.
Right. I'm only trying. Well, we'll find out when they were pastoring, and then when were you pastoring there?
We didn't pastor in Beatrice.
We lived with
We
Denny.
lived
That's
with
right. They
Denny's.
lived with Denny's, and so did
That
you
would have
know?
been in '47.
Would you have known what are their Viola and
Well, that
What
was
are the Denny's
Central
names?
City.
what are the,
Roy and Leela Denny.
Oh, Roy and Leela Denny. Did you know them in Beatrice? Okay. Enough of that.
Teach them, huh?
All right, this one is from Gail's sister, who was one of Russell and Susie's parishioners in Idaho Falls. Russell and Susie, what a wonderful occasion to celebrate. Your dedication to each other has served as an inspiration to many. Your productivity as a team has made a difference in this world and will continue to do so. You're a special part of my life, and I wish you the best on your special day. Karen Barrett. All right, this next one is from Jamie, my daughter, and their granddaughter. I understand that Grandma and Grandpa will have been married for 60 years. It still astounds me. What a lifetime of learning and growing and loving each other. As their granddaughter, and this may sound obvious, but they've been my grandparents, together as a unit for my whole life. How lucky I am. I'd like to share some of my favorite memories for the past and recently that I've been given by Grandma Susie and Grandpa Russell. One of my favorite, earliest memories is in their house, I think in Idaho. They grew gooseberries. There's those berries again. They grew gooseberries in the back near the rear house wall.
Let me tell you. Let's see. That would have been